you go to Daily.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you were recruited there, because I was going to ask. Part of what I was going to ask is like, how did you end up with the opportunity? Because with Tapas, it sounds like that was a company founded by your friend, and so that's how you heard about it, right? And then you went in at a very senior level, but it's basically it was a very new business. It sounds like when you joined Tapas. Daily, it sounds like by the time you joined, and correct
Mm-hmm.
me if I'm wrong, by the time you joined, it was already a pretty large business, right? And then you went in as CSO, Chief Strategy Officer. What is that business model? Because for our audience, like they're probably not kind of familiar with. I kind of think of it as
Yeah.
basically like a holding company, but like, what was the business model there? And then like, what was your role specifically? I guess.
Yeah. So, Daily Financial Group, it used to be called Yellow Financial Group because we were sister companies with a company
Mm,
called Yellow Mobile. And Yellow Mobile was one of the largest internet companies in South Korea that, you know, it didn't really work out. There's a whole background story of why
mm,
it didn't work out. But so you're right. Daily Financial Group was sort of a fintech conglomerate where we had, I don't remember, about 30 fintech subsidiaries or fintech investments under our
mm,
corporate umbrella. And we did everything from like robo advisory to P2P lending to we had like, like fintech API, banking API. We had a cryptocurrency exchange. We had a bunch
mm,
of companies, right? And, we sort of like put all these together, and our purpose was to be one of the biggest partners to financial
mm,
institutions. So a lot of the banks, they have the license, and banks, move very slowly in terms of
yeah.
technology. That's where we come in, and we're able to provide newer type of services or newer type of products that could complement these banks, so that we could either increase their revenue, or diversify their revenue, or help them cut cost. So my job was to, help some of these portfolio companies grow. I've also helped acquire some of these companies. I've helped divest some of these companies. I've
Mm,
invested in new companies. I've helped incubate a few companies. So it was sort of all over the place. But the key, one of the key role was to identify some of the top prospects within our portfolio, and try to double down on some of these companies. And one of these companies was a cryptocurrency exchange. We, for example, acquired a 5-person team cryptocurrency exchange for, I can't remember, like $1 million or 2 million, and we blew it up. We helped grow that to a 200 million plus company. So my role kind of came in. I helped the company grow. I helped bring new opportunities. I helped fund it. Uh, help with the strategy and all those things. And yeah, the Daily Financial Group was quite interesting, and the reason why I moved from a web comic company to a fintech company was because they were looking for somebody with sort of my skill set, where they wanted somebody who understood traditional finance, but also had a Web 2 or internet
mm,
experience, right? Like building an actual company from 0 to 1, bring in clients,
yeah.
do marketing, do community building, and all of those. So be on the web service side as well. So I got that experience from
Yeah.
Tapas Media, the web comics company. So, I was able to kind of come into this fintech company and kind of help them basically grow, right? Because I came with a fintech is, it's you put finance and tech
Yeah.
together, right? So it was sort of a perfect position for me, and there weren't too many people with that kind of
Mm.
experience back in the
How do they
day.
find you? Just through like headhunters or?
No, it was so one of my friends in college was running was a subsidiary. So he was the CEO of a subsidiary of that company. And when they were looking for a person at the group level, he recommended me, and I had a quick few hour chat with the CEO. I flew over to Korea. I had an interview, and then it wasn't really an interview. It was more of a partnership, I would say, where it felt everything was right.
That's awesome. So, and then so basically, it sounds kind of like, based on what you're describing, sounds almost like a VC model, right? It's kind of like, because you're investing in these companies, you're incubating them, the winners, you double down on them. You're also obviously, I mean, VCs usually don't have control; they just have one or two board seats. But you guys own the entire thing, so you could do whatever you wanted. So in that sense, it's maybe even better. But
yeah,
is that kind of like the right way to think about it?
So yeah, I mean, one of the key component of this this company was that there weren't any limitations. It was very flexible, so it would do whatever it wants, right? Like, it was very, very flexible, very founder friendly. Would you say if the founder wanted to be a fully acquired or like a subsidiary, then we would allow that. If the founder wanted us to be a minority stakeholder, then we would be doing that. So it's how I kind of view it is, it was just a collage of fintech companies. A lot of people questioned if they will work. I think looking back today, the company still survived. It's under a different name called GoWid, GOWID. And they've kind of pivoted into a different model after I left. But there were a lot of good things about this company, because there were a lot of, the idea was you bring together a lot of smart people, you give them a lot of freedom to go out there and build their own business, and all we do is provide support. Then there should be some success stories, right? So I think in terms of that VC model, it is quite similar, because we were looking for, we didn't expect all 25 portfolio to succeed. But we expected like one or two to hit a home run. And we actually hit a home run with a couple of companies, and one of them was a cryptocurrency exchange. The other one was like a AI credit scoring system. We had a kind of a mid success as well, a payment infrastructure company like Stripe. So it was like this company runs like a Stripe in South Korea. We also had a data scraping, like Plaid. Plaid is a the banking API infrastructure company. So we had that in South Korea. So yeah, we had some like very, very good companies, and we did it early enough so that we sort of monopolized some of the key technologies in the fintech space.